Welcome everybody to the VOLIBEAR Trial Deck Overview. This is going to be going over the VOLIBEAR Relentless Storm being a red-orange. I know it may look yellow to some people, but this is red-orange VOLIBEAR with the text, when you play a unit with 5+ might, you may exhaust this VOLIBEAR to play your top rune exhausted. So it is a leader that allows us to ramp, which is going to be very big as VOLIBEAR is a big stompy deck, and we're going to get into his recommended locations here. And his locations are going to be Void Gate, which are spells and abilities that affect units here, deal 1 bonus damage. Each instance of damage that spell deals is increased by 1. So if you're dealing 1 damage to something, it becomes 2. If you're doing 1 damage twice to somebody in different instances, it will become 2 damage each time. So this can really stack up with one of our main partner cards here in a minute. Obelisk of Power. This is players channel 1 additional rune during their first runic phase this game. This is a very strong card as VOLIBEAR wants to ramp and get to his bigger guys faster, and this allows them to have 1 extra rune. So going second, we can talk about a combo they can do that will just put them way ahead of other players early on. And final one, Sigil of Storm. When you conquer here, recycle 1 of your runes. So this lets you get 1 of your things back, and it just lets you stay into the game. Our partners today are going to be 1 of 2 cards. We play 3 of the red one, 2 of the orange one. The first one is going to be our red VOLIBEAR. He is a 10 cost, 9 might, 2 red recycle costs with deflect 2. Your opponent has to pay 2 runes to choose him for a spell or effect, but when he attacks, he deals 5 damage split among number of enemy units here. So at Void Gate, if you have multiple units, you can assign damage to them separately, and remember, all those damages will get buffed up. And then we have Orange VOLIBEAR being a 12 cost, 10 might. Remember, 12 is our maximum rune, so this costs all of our runes, 2 orange recycle costs. For a tank, shield 3, which means since he is a tank, you have to assign all 10 damage to VOLIBEAR first. He has shield 3, so he has plus 3 might if he's a defender, so he's really a 13 might defender. And when an opponent moves to a battlefield other than his, you draw 1, a base not a battlefield. So if we have VOLIBEAR at Obelisk of Power, and they move to Sigil of Storm, well, guess what that means? It means you get to draw a card. And drawing a card on a very big deck, we will get to later, he has some scary cards that he could draw into. For our lower end, we have the Legion Rearguards, 2 cost, 2 might, accelerate, so you can have a rusher early on. We have our Carnivorous Snapvine, a 5 cost, 6 might, 2 orange recycle. When you play it, choose a unit at battlefield. We deal damage equal to our might to each other. So he comes in, he says, hey, I'm going to fight you. Hopefully you fight something that doesn't have 6 might. So that way your Snapvine kills the thing and you get to keep your body on board. Next, one of the strongest cards in VOLIBEAR's deck, Misfortune Captain. 5 cost, 5 might, 1 recycle cost of orange. She has ganking and accelerate, which means she can move battlefield to battlefield, and as she's played, you can pay 1 in an orange as an additional cost to have her enter ready. But the first time she would move each turn, you may ready another card. So, if you have Misfortune on your battlefield, and you go to your new turn, and you play Red VOLIBEAR, remember, Red VOLIBEAR is going to be rested, but you tap Misfortune to move her to a battlefield. Now you get to ready a card. So we're going to ready up the VOLIBEAR, and now he immediately can move, dealing the damage and clearing another spot on the board. Very strong combo with this Misfortune, but keep in mind that it's only the first time she moves, so you can't really spam a lot unless you have a second Misfortune. Next, we have Kagrin the Infernal. This is a 9 cost, 9 might dragon with 2 red recycle costs. When you play me, draw 1 card for each of your units with 5 or more power. It does include itself because it has 5 or more might. So you play this, and you have Kagro, maybe a Snapvine. So that's draw 2, so that's a +1. That's a very, very good draw engine for a deck that wants to play big bodies. Next, we have a alternate win condition for Volibear and also a very strong card in being Tryndamere. This is a 7 cost, 8 might with 2 red recycle costs. When I conquer, after an attack, if you assigned 5 or more excess damage to a unit, you score 1 point. So this could win you the game instead of having capture every area. Say you're at 7 and somebody just has like a 1 power recruit here. You go, cool, put Tryndamere here. I'm going to assign all 8 of my damage to your 1 power recruit. And this being more than 5 excess points of damage would score you that 8th point and win you the game. And also just ramps you in the points department very quickly. And your opponents have to deal with Tryndamere, or you just keep running stuff over. A good body that they also have is the 5 cost 5 power Blazing Scorcher with Accelerate, which you pay a black and a red, and you have it enter ready, and you can swing the 5 power immediately. Next, we have the Stormclaw Ursine. It is a 7 cost 6 might. It is a tank, so you have to assign all the power here first. But when you play it, channel 1 rune exhausted. Don't forget, so far we've had the Snapvine, both Volibear, the Dragon, Misfortune, almost everything we've seen besides the Legion Rearguard right now is going to trigger our leader Volibear, where we can rest and play a rune. So this Ursine literally says, you play me, ramp 2, because you're going to ramp 1 due to this, and you're going to ramp 1 due to Volibear. Very strong, very good. Next, we have Deadbloom Predator. This is one of the altars we have seen for the game already. That's why we have this cool looking artwork right here. This is going to be an 8 cost, 8 might, recycle cost of 2 orange. Deflects, your opponent would have to recycle to choose this with a speller ability. You may play it to an occupied enemy battlefield. So, if your opponent has like a little guy, Obelisk of Power, Sigil Storm, you immediately get to play Predator down, do a fight, do a showdown, and see if you conquer it or lose if they have spells, but you immediately get to play it somewhere that somebody's already occupying, so that way you can end up fighting and hopefully killing something on board with this guy. Very strong card, very beautiful alt art that we've already seen for the game. Next, we have one of the scariest cards a Volibear player could play on the board, being Magna Worm. It's an 8 cost, 8 might, 1 red recycle. Other friendly units enter ready. So it means you don't have to play accelerate cost. That means that you don't have to wait a turn. If this guy's on the board and you play something else, it is coming in and it is doing everything you need it to do, besides the Magna Worm itself. So this is a very, very scary card, and it is a must-kill if you are worried about Volibear having some explosive turns with very big Volibears, Deadbloom Predators, Tryndameres, Kagurals, everything. This is a must-kill card on any Volibear player's fields. We're going to get into his event lineup here. I'm going to go to these two first. It's very subtle. We have the 2 cost Mobilize. This is channel 1 rune. If you can't channel rune, draw a card. So this helps us ramp early so we can get into our bigger drops. And we also have the 4 cost Catalyst of Aeons, channel 2 runes. If you couldn't channel 2 runes this way, draw a card. So this allows us to get our runes up really quickly, and this is where I was telling you, if you get Obelisk of Power and you go second or last, because remember, if you were the player going last, you get an extra rune, so you would start the game with 3 runes. But with Obelisk of Power, it says players channel 1 additional rune, which means you could start with 4 runes. And if you start with 4 runes, then you could play Catalyst of Aeons, go to 6 runes, and then on your second turn, you'd be on 8 runes. Now that we're on 8 runes, it really means we can play a lot of things that would be kind of crazy. Let's go into the rest of our spells. First one being 2 cost challenge with a 1 recycle cost of orange action. Play on our turn or in showdowns. Choose a friendly unit and an enemy unit. They deal damage equal to their mights to each other. So this is literally like, we go, hey, I have an 8 cost, you have a guy that is in your base that I want dead, I can have our guys punch each other. But remember, this damage from this does not fall off until end of turn or a showdown happens with those units, because damage that happens to units in base stays until end of turn or a showdown occurs involving those units. Next, we have Disintegrate. This is a 4-cost action that says deal 3 damage to a unit out of battlefield. If it kills it, draw 1 card. So this is very strong in the fact that if you have a whole bunch of little guys out of place, or if your opponents are fighting over a location and you want to chip in and just try to kill a little guy so you can get a card draw or sway the battle in somebody else's favor, you can also do that. Next, a big Volibear spell being the 6-cost Stormbringer with a recycle cost of 2, but they can be red or orange. Choose a friendly unit in your base, deal damage equal to its might to all enemies at a battlefield, then move your unit there. So the scary thing is when they get one of these big Volibears down, or the dragon, or Cadriel, they can just go, hey, I'm going to deal 9, 10, 9, 8, 8, some of these big numbers to everything on the board, and then I get to move there. So I probably killed everything there. Then I move there, which means I get to capture it. It's so very strong. I think this card will literally be a game changer and affect the board state in a way that if players don't play around it and respect that Volibear may have it, it could cost them games completely. Overall, Volibear being this very want to go fast, want to ramp up and play big damaging threats is just going to be so crucial, especially with Sigil of Storm. If you conquer here, you have to recycle one of your runes. So you can literally just fight over this location with your big bodies. And if your opponent wants to try and get points, they're going to have to go negative on runes because they have to recycle runes, which means they have less to play with. While you're trying to ramp up, contest the one area that's not recycling runes, it is very strong and very beneficial to Volibear. Hopefully later on we get to see the altar for this, because we do not get to see any pretty artwork for Volibear, but we have seen the pretty artwork for Dread Bloom Predator. When you're playing this deck, keep in mind you are trying to stick a big body and then get your points through holding and protecting your big bodies. You have Misfortunes, you can do crazy plays. You have Magma Worms, you can have Rushers. You have Tryndamere to get there to get extra points if we need it. I recommend starting with the red Volibear as your partner, and if you feel like you have more time to build a board up and have slower games, I think orange Volibear is a definite contender because, like I said, being a 12 cost, 13 might that draws you cards, very, very strong, and not a lot of things that can just outright kill it. But there are some things that can just remove this from the board. So stay tuned. Hopefully we get some more smaller guys for Volibear that might also ramp. I feel like if we get like some little guys that say when they died, ramp, or if they conquer, they get to ramp, because then you're incentivized to play a smaller engine instead of just all big guys. But this general deck build for Volibear is also very strong and very good. I think Volibear will be a very big menace when it comes to the actual release, depending on what else we get that could be boss monsters instead of just dragons or ramping bears. We have Misfortune and other things that could make the Volibears even scarier to come. Who knows? We may get a signature spell that's even better than Stormbringer for Volibear, which would be terrifying. So we gotta stay tuned and see what the storm brings us later on.